Live. We're live. I don't know if get anybody watching here tonight. Had to do the live stream late tonight because it was my dad's birthday, and went out to eat with my dad, and so we got a late start tonight. So I don't know who's going to be watching, but really quick, I want to talk about a couple things. Number one, I'm in the process of selling my house and buying another one and moving. That's going to happen this spring or early in the summer. So my life's a little chaotic right now. I have a lot of projects around the house I've got to get done. So I'm not going to be taking on any commissions while I'm in this transition with the house. I'm still going to be building Sabers, at night when I can't be working outside on the house, or, when I need a break from construction or whatever, I'll build Sabers. But it's kind of been pretty busy. So a lot of people are emailing me, wanting me to build Sabers for them. So right now that's a no. I'm not taking any commissions. I want to talk about the Saber we talked about in our first YouTube live video that I ever did. You remember this, like Ultra Sabers? There's like a hint of it. Well, I have changed this. So there's the Ultra Sabers now. Now this leather wrap is rough draft, but there's the shrouds, the control box. I already have the switch hole cut in here for the switches to go. And this one is getting CFX. It'll be my first CFX install. It's a far cry from where it was. And this hilt is, now ready to install. Put the TCSS pommel on here. I'll have the leather wrap back here. It's got this custom shroud I did with like a Megtooth on each side and another fang right there. And it looks like the nose of a shark. Trying to get it straight on there where you can see it. Looks like the nose of a shark. But looks like that could be straightened up a tad, but very preliminary in the work. In fact, the leather wrap's all taped on. But at any rate, there is that Ultra Sabers, and the leather wrap isn't done. It's just rough draft taped on there so I could cut it. So that's what that Ultra Sabers looks like. So we're ready to install that Ultra Sabers, and that's going to get CFX. And I think what I'm going to do with the CFX is on all the little accent pads, I think I'm going to do SMD LEDs on all the accent pads. So it'll have 8 SMD LEDs on the CFX doing their thing. It'll be in the chassis, but you'll be able to pull that out and check that out. Check out the chassis, which will have SMD LEDs on it. So that's going to be that. The CoreBand crossguard, I just haven't had a chance. Christmas was crazy. Then I was out of town the week after Christmas, and I just got back on January 2nd. We were in Nashville, Tennessee, and just got back from Nashville, Tennessee. Of course, went right back into work, my full-time job, my day job. And then we had a bad weekend. I got called in on the weekend, and another bad day today. So it continues on. It's just killing any free time. My job's just killing any free time that I have right now, along with this house. So that's why I haven't been putting a lot of Sabers out there, but hopefully that'll change soon. When I install this with CFX, and we'll get that published, and this lightsaber is going to be for sale. Looks like I got to straighten out that nose looking at it from the top. Yeah, you know what? I might leave it crooked like that. Who knows? It's odd. But we'll get that one installed, and then I'm going to install this Kanan Jarrus one. When I install this Kanan Jarrus Saber, I'm going to do that with Prof II, and this one I'm going to do a Prof II install from front to back, the whole thing. From how I wire a button, it'll have a recharge port here, which I haven't drilled in yet. It'll have a NeoPixel module in there, and then the chassis and the Prof II, and I'll show how I wire that up. And it'll have just the single button, I think. I'm going to leave it single button. and see what kind of functionality we can get. So those are there. I didn't finish the main blade for this crossguard, but y'all know the crossguard is done. So I just need to finish the main blade for this so I can put it up on the internet and go ahead and sell it. So this crossguard will be for sale soon. And that's kind of what's going on. So what's going on in everyone else's world out there? Anybody got anything they want to chat about tonight? Did anybody see the last episode of Mandalorian? Episode 8? Holy moly. If you haven't been watching The Mandalorian, that's pretty awesome. I'm enjoying it. It's pretty good. I have seen The Rise of Skywalker. I don't want to talk about The Rise of Skywalker too much because it's still, some people still haven't seen it yet, so I don't want to do any spoilers. But The Mandalorian is awesome. If y'all don't have Disney Plus, grab it because The Mandalorian's pretty awesome. Look at that mess behind me. Ugh. Yeah, so the true 1777. I haven't seen you in a while. So yeah, I'm gonna build a dark saber. So right now on the TRA, Solos Hold, or actually Nerfworks Lab, actually has a interest thread for a dark saber. And I don't know if y'all been keeping up with him, and I forget his name right now. He makes awesome, like crazy blades. Gary Ripper. Has anybody seen Gary Ripper? His blades, the NeoPixel blades for the dark saber. So can you imagine a Nerfworks Lab dark saber? Yeah, and then having a Gary Ripper NeoPixel dark saber blade. Oh my God! It's going to be expensive though, because I think Gary Ripper's, you know, his blades are really expensive. So that's going to be expensive. So Double X, how's OS 3.7 coming along? Pretty good. Here's my crazy blaster test rig with Profi, and it's working. And I may fire it up for y'all if y'all want to see it working. We'll fire it up live. You want to see my crazy insanity working live? Ugh. Let's hook a battery to it. Let's fire it up. Let's see here. How crazy can we get? Let's hook up the negative there and the positive. This is insane.
What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me. He's all yours, bounty hunter. What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me. He's all yours, bounty hunter.
Trying to keep this all from short. So this is OS 3.7. I know this is insane. It's my bench test rig, but it's all working. It's got automatic. It's got taser, or I'm sorry, a stun mode on it. And all this is working on OS 3.7 on Profi. So that's a Profi. And look, all this is insane because it's insane. But I've got a Tricree, red, blue. The two reds run for the blaster shots and the blue for the phaser, the stun, and then the NeoPixel strips. They'll actually propagate the shot on the barrel, which is pretty cool. I want to come to Florida and install one of my F11D. Yeah. Right now I'm installing a EE3, a Boba Fett blaster for one of my buddies here in Wilmington. And I've already installed one of his EE3s with a blaster core 5.1, I think. And we weren't happy with the volume that thing was putting out. The video's on my YouTube channel. But I think we're going to put dual speakers in this EE3. It's going to be loud and Profi. It's going to be awesome. And, I'm pretty excited to see how all that pans out on the EE3. But basically the funny thing is Profi really wasn't invented per se to do blasters and props, but Frederick did his thermal detonator with Profi, and then we've been working on OS 3.7 for blaster. And this is my bench test rig for the blaster stuff. So, this isn't the Profi that's going in the blaster. This is my Profi that I use on the bench to test everything before I install in a Saber. Usually I'll program this to whatever I'm wanting to install, and then I'll wire it up to whatever I'm running. Like this one's going to be running NeoPixel strips, and that's how I test my rigs. But that's pretty simple there. And hang on a second, because I'm also, while we're doing this, I'm also watching SpaceX launch Starlink down there in Cape Canaveral. Hopefully that's my future employer. When I retire from my current job, I want to go to work for SpaceX down there in Cape Canaveral. And I'm watching the launch right now live. So if y'all didn't know, SpaceX is launching more Starlink satellites tonight so they can get the internet. Can't wait to see the finished product. Been thinking of building one myself. So Maker Channel, what are you thinking about building? Is it the Profi Blaster or one of the Sabers that I showed? And I don't know, because we may have a couple viewers we didn't have at the beginning, but bada bing, there's that Ultra Sabers, cheap stunt hilt. Yeah. And, the leather wrap's not on there permanent. I'm just putting it on there to get it cut to length. But leather wrap, did the custom shroud on here with the Megtooth looking thing on it. And also put this control box, which will have dual 12 millimeter illuminated AV switches, and this one's getting crystal focus 10. And then another upcoming project is this Kanan Jarrus L from Ultra Sabers, which this one's going to get Profi, and I'm going to do the full install vid on how to install Profi from front to back, just like Shamim did. I'm going to be doing that video for my YouTube channel. Hopefully that'll help some people out, especially people that want to install a stock Ultra Sabers and empty Ultra Sabers. I mean, I'll be able to show you how to do it when I do this Kanan Jarrus. But yeah, I mean, the blasters are a lot of fun. The funny thing about blasters, especially the EE3, the EE3 just has a ton more room for electronics to install than lightsabers. Lightsabers are always tough. The Graflex is not in my possession yet. Should it have arrived today, Mike? I'm not sure. It might be in my mailbox. I haven't looked at my mailbox yet, but but my front porch was clear. I just got home from eating birthday dinner with my dad, and then straight jumped onto this. So yeah, okay. I'll go check the mailbox and I'll zap you a message and let you know. So yeah, on top of these two builds and the blade for the crossguard, which is getting ready to go for sale soon, I have two Graflex builds that I'm doing. One of them will be for sale. One of them is for a friend of mine, and I also have a bunch of 501st Legion stuff that I'm doing here for local guys. That's what gets me backed up. Is I try to turn away a lot of the 501st Legion stuff along with commissions right now because I'm just trying to get this house done so I can sell this house, get rid of this house, get out of here, buy a new house, and move. And all that's coming up in the next few months. So I'm trying to massively reduce the amount of work I have, because right now I come home from work on a normal day. I work from morning to night, and then I come home from work and I'm sitting here on the bench soldering until I go to bed. And that's pretty much every day. And then on the weekends, I'm here soldering too. So it's really getting to the point where, I have no life. And if I'm not soldering, I'm working on my house. So I've got to kind of pull the reins in on lightsabers and stuff a little bit here while I get this house sold. But, I'm going to try and get a couple of these Sabers done. I got a couple Sabers for Hong Kong that I got to get done. And, while the weather's cold like it is right now, I can't do anything outside, so I can build Sabers. But got a couple big projects done. on the house. So, hopefully get this thing pretty close to able to sell. So SpaceX looks like 4 minutes and 47 seconds until launch of SpaceX's Starlink 2 mission, which is pretty cool. Anybody have any questions about Saber stuff? Profis? You have tutorials for building a Saber from scratch. I'm a newbie and just saw you on here. If you have links, please direct me. As far as I like what I've seen, what you have done. So, I'm not a Saber smith per se. I'm more of an installer. I don't build my own hilts. But now, with that being said, stand by. I'm going to go get one to show you. Don't everybody go away. I'm going to get the hilt. Won't take me a second. Good. Actually, you know what? I can get another one too. Stand by. So, there's a couple hilts that I built from the modular hilt system parts from the custom saber shop. And the funny thing is, the first lightsaber I ever built was this one, this one's crazy. I called this one Mako, and it's insane. It's even got like a PLI bar graph in here. Watch here.
Mako, Megtooth.
And then it's NeoPixel with a NeoPixel crystal chamber. And I custom built the whole crystal chamber and everything. So this was the first lightsaber that I ever built. And I built this, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And it's kind of ugly, but it's crazy. Hey, thanks, Scott. I'm glad you like them. So Ron, here's another example of MHS from the custom saber shop. And this is a Nihilist that I built. And, this saber is absolutely nuts on the inside. I'm having some issues with the buttons on this hilt, but I'll fire it up and see if we can get it to work. But I really need to do some work on the buttons on this hilt. But figure I can show you. Hopefully it'll work. So this one's got a battery level meter here, and it's got like a turbine here of NeoPixels, and then the crystal chamber, which is all hand built. That's all hand built by me. This is the inside of Nihilist. So yeah, it's not gonna let me turn it off because it has some clashing issues but this hilt is pretty awesome. I just need to do some work on those buttons. But you can do a lot of cool stuff, Ron, with the custom saber shop parts that you can buy. It's called the modular hilt system at the custom saber shop, and it's really cool what you can do there with the custom saber shop's parts. This is a saber that's made totally with modular hilt system components from the custom saber shop. So you can make those yourself. So when I say I haven't machined my own hilts, I haven't. But now I did do all this shroud work, all these shrouds and the weathering, and this shroud here, and this little piece of shroud here, which has the switches in it. I did all that and made, all that out of aluminum, but I don't have a lathe, so I'm not turning my own sabers. So I don't consider myself a saber smith in any. I dropped a kill key. I'm looking for where the kill key went for Nihilist, but I'm not a saber smith by any stretch of the imagination. Do I consider myself a saber smith? I consider myself more of an installer. I take mostly hilts like the Graflex 2.5 kits, and I install those, and CoreBand cross guards like that, I've installed those. I do Black Series conversions. Here's a CoreBand B6, which this is my Prof II beta test Saber. So, Ron, you can get that information on SpaceX is launching. The rocket's going up. There it is, going up in outer space, which is pretty awesome. So SpaceX is going. If you want to build your own Sabers, Ron, what you can do is go to www.thecustomsabershop.com and you can look at modular hilt system version 1 or version 2, and you piece together your components. They actually have a builder program where you can piece the components together and see what they're going to look like. Best if you plan the Saber around your chassis, then your chassis around your Saber. That's the biggest lesson, for beginners to learn, is to make sure that you plan your chassis accordingly, and build your Saber around your chassis. And a big chassis that used in a lot of MHS builds is the MHS Speaker Holder 6. So it's MHS V1 Speaker Holder 6. Is a really popular chassis for modular hilt system Sabers, MHS Sabers from the Custom Saber Shop. It's a pretty easy chassis to wire up. You can put your 18650 battery, speaker, and soundboard all on that, and then you can encapsulate it in TH shroud. And there's a lot of cool help videos. If you YouTube search the Custom Saber Shop, they have tons of great videos on YouTube on how to build your own Sabers, how to wire up a chassis, how to wire up a speaker, how to wire a soundboard. So there's tons of good tutorial videos on there. I didn't get the 3D printed MHS V6 yet. How does it look, Teacup, in comparison to the old one that's milled out of Delrin? So for those of y'all that don't know, there's a MHS V6 chassis with 18650 battery carrier. The speaker goes here, and of course your battery goes in here, and the soundboard goes here, and your wires come out of your Saber into here. But Scott S. So in the Prof config file, is it necessary to change the number of neopixel to how many are actually in the blade? Wasn't sure. Scott S., the answer to that is yes. However, there are two places in the config file where it lists number of neopixels. In the top section of the config file, where it says, I forget exactly how it's labeled, but it says 144. And you need to leave that 144 at 144, because that one that's up in the, there's two sections. You have the top of the config file, and then you have the body with all your blade styles, and then you have the bottom and your blade defines. The number of neopixels you need to change are in your blade defines at the bottom of the configuration, not the top of the configuration file. It's the number of neopixels in your main blade in the bottom of the config file. So yes, you actually do have to put the exact number of neopixels into your config file, and then that way the tip drag thing can work, and also your extension and retraction are the appropriate links for each preset. Because the extension and retraction are not based on the sound files in Prof. They're actually based on what you program the extension times to be. So Prof is different than Plector Labs boards in that manner, that you have to kind of fine tune each preset's ignition to match whatever sound font you're using. If there's any gripes about Prof, it's probably that the ignition length and retraction length are manually set in each preset. So if you swapped a font for that preset, you'd have to manually go back in and adjust the blade style for extension and retraction so they match. Cold Teacup, I know they were making some improvements to it, but I mean, that is my go-to. I mean, I really love this chassis. I always have, and I like the fact that it's made out of Delrin. It's my go-to chassis for BS conversions. It's also my go-to chassis for, all these ultra Sabers, installs that I've done. It's just a great chassis for these. But this Kanan Jarrus Ultra Sabers, I'm going to do a full top to bottom install tutorial on this lightsaber, hopefully soon. I'm hoping to start filming that perhaps this weekend. And, once I get all that together, then I'll be able to publish that video on the internet for everyone to watch how I do that. So, yep, that's why tip drag didn't work. That's exactly right, Scott. So there are two things that'll tell you that your NeoPixels aren't set right in your config file. One is if you ignite your blade and like the blade doesn't ignite all the way up. That's usually because you don't have enough NeoPixels set in the blade. And the other thing that's the true tell of whether or not you've got the NeoPixels set right is your blade illuminates all the way to the tip, but when you hit the tip drag, it doesn't work. So those are the few tells on the config file that you can tell on your lightsaber that it wasn't programmed right. That's like a lot of people want me to install a Prof Saber for them, but they want to get their blade somewhere else, which is fine. But if they get their blade somewhere else and it's longer or shorter than what I programmed, then they end up having to send the hilt back to me for me to reprogram the Profi. And to me, it's cheaper, easier, better for somebody just to have me build their blade rather than to buy it from somewhere else. It's just a lot simpler for me to build their blade for them. That way I know exactly how many NeoPixels are in them, and I can go ahead and program it when I install the Saber. So that's always a big thing for me. Now, a lot of times what I'll do if like somebody's okay with giving up tip drag is I'll just make the, put the NeoPixels in longer than I know the blade actually is. So that way at least the blade fully illuminates, but then you're going to lose tip drag. So yeah, if you don't have tip drag working, it's because your NeoPixels aren't set to the right amount that's in your blade. So most of my blades are around 34 and a half inches long. And that's about 129 NeoPixels. I mean, you can figure it out because they're 144 per meter. So it's pretty simple to figure out how many NeoPixels are in there based upon how long your blade is and, guess at it. But I can tell you a good starting point is 129. Unless your blade is a full meter long, you do not have 144 NeoPixels in your blade. A 34-inch blade has about 129 NeoPixels in it. And it's not the total number of NeoPixels, because even a blade with 129 has 258 total NeoPixels, but that's not what they're asking. What's the length of NeoPixels in the longest strip on your blade? And that's 129. Is there somewhere to put a recharge port on an MR Vader? If not, do people put them on their CoreBand or etc., and if so, where? So there's not really a place to put a recharge port on an MR Vader. However, if you use a chassis like this chassis can be modified by drilling oh yeah, successful landing on the barge, ladies and gentlemen. SpaceX does it again. They landed a rocket on a barge. They're incredible, for those of y'all not watching. But you can take this MHS V6 chassis and you can actually drill in a place for a recharge port here and behind the speaker. I've seen people do that. And then you could use this in your MR Saber. You could use a smaller, like a 1.3 millimeter recharge port, maybe in the clamp, but you'd have to modify, that on the teacup on the MR Vader, that plastic piece that's in the clamp that actually screws down into the hilt, you would have to probably modify that and Dremel that out to fit the 1.3 millimeter recharge port there. But you certainly couldn't fit the 2.1 millimeter recharge port in the clamp. I don't think it would fit. When KR releases his LED strips, are you going to be utilizing them? Double X, that's probably, you can guarantee that when KR releases his strips and the Verso board that I'll be buying from him. Cal Jerome is, he's awesome. I mean, there's some of the Saber guys that don't like him or whatever, but I think Cal Jerome is awesome. I think he's a huge asset to our community. He helped save me a lot of money because when I was on that SoCal Red Profi run, and KR basically called him out on the internet and said he's ripping us off, and I immediately filed a PayPal appeal and got all my money back because I had given Jordan quite a bit of my money on that run. So yeah, I mean, when KR releases anything, I listen. So yeah, I'll be using Cal strips and testing them out and see how I like them. And you know, I'm really looking forward to a bunch of things Cal's got coming out right now. That guy is a super genius, and you know he's doing all that by himself over there in the UK. He's just incredible. I got mad appeal. You know, he's a cool guy. You know, just a freaking tycoon over there in the UK, which is kind of shocking to me as a United Statesian or American to see this British over there and British guy, and he's just yeah. The KR. I was trying to keep that quiet, Mike. We don't want the public knowing that's out there because when the OWK came out, I think it lasted like 3 minutes, and he sold every hilt he made. So I agree with you 100%. I'm not trying to help Cal spread the word on that one, and it's out of sheer selfishness because I can guarantee you this: if I can get on his website when he says go, I plan on purchasing 2 of his cross guards. That's the funny thing, Mike. So, you know, I built this one, and this one was technically going to be mine, but once Cal said that he's doing that, then I'm out of there. I'm definitely buying his cross guards, and if not, I still have my BS and my Black Series converted hilt with Teensy Saber is still awesome. It does color changing now too. My Teensy Saber, so that thing's awesome. Do you still get the BTF lighting strips? Yes. Thought I had some here, a bag of them, but I don't. I don't have a bag of them handy. There's some over there, but I can't get to them. Just joined in, and Birch is in the house. Oh yeah, so while we're talking about that, and Birch, I mentioned it in my last live stream, but you didn't see it. I got Birch's chassis. So Hexx Saber he's making chassis. He's 3D printing chassis. You can buy them on his Etsy store, and I'll show some of these chassis and how they work. Very similar to MHS V6. So this is MHS chassis done by Hexx Sabers, and these chassis actually work in Ultra Sabers. They're very similar to the MHS V6. Oh yeah, I got the vinyl too. Those are awesome. No, I didn't throw them away. There's a Kylo Ren crossguard on the back of my truck. You're the man, Birch. I didn't throw them away. I saw them. So there is, you know, Birch's chassis goes right into an Ultra Sabers. So it's just like the MHS V6, and it actually locks in. Here it lock in. So it's got the lip on it, so it locks in. You can get these chassis when the custom Saber shop, you know, they don't have theirs. You can get these from Birch on his Etsy shop, and they work really great. So really thanks to Hexx Sabers for sending me some of these chassis to try. I'm pretty excited about it. One of those chassis is going to go into the Saber when I do the install vid on this Kanan Jarrus L. Have you seen this Kanan Jarrus L from Ultra Sabers, Birch? Have you seen that? You know, I mean, for an Ultra Sabers, I mean, don't get me wrong, this thing is humongous, but you know, it's still a cool looking hilt. And once it's installed, the actual emitter part, comes off, and you know your NeoPixel adapter will be down in here. So you know that's how much blade depth you have. Isn't that crazy? You know that's like a good 4.5 inches of blade depth. Yeah, I like the shroud venting too, and the etch on there. You know, I know it's a laser etch, but you know, it's pretty sweet. So I'm pretty excited about installing this hilt. It's going to be a really simple install, especially with Birch's chassis. And Birch, since you came on late, you know, I took one of these. Forgive me because I got to put my crude leather wrap back around this thing. So y'all remember I bought one of these grab bag from Ultra Sabers just because it came pretty much almost free with the other hilt I just showed you, and I've done some modifications to it. Look at that. I've got a control box up here on the top. I got the shroud going. You know, you still got vented holes showing through there, and then I'm going to have leather wrap on the back, which the leather is not on there permanent yet. It's just kind of cut test to, you know, fit it on there. But leather wrap, shroud with little Megtooth kind of looking fangs on the shroud coming down there, and it'll have two 12mm buttons here in the control box. So that's kind of working out pretty good. To Eris Pilon. Let's see. I need to translate that. I don't know what Pilon is. Let's translate that. P-L-O-N. Alone. Bald. You were bald. Yeah. Caleb Santes. And you took your message back. No, that's actually not a leather shroud. That's metal. It just looks like leather. It's metal. It's painted. Isn't that crazy? That's sick. That dude said I was bald in Spanish. Caleb Santes. I didn't know what pelon means. He's like, you. I knew he said you are something, but I had to look up pelon because I didn't know what pelon meant bald. You are bald. That's what Caleb Santos said. Now it says his message is retracted. Yeah, no shit, buckwheat. Of course I'm bald. The grass doesn't grow on a busy street. God made only a few perfect heads, and the rest he put hair on. Oh God. Gordito cacheton pelon. I didn't know what it meant, Birchie. I know what gordito means though. Oh yeah, I'm bald. It's a genetic certainty. Yeah, I know. I know, man. We got a guy at work, and his last name is Gordon, and we called him Gordo. And you know, short and fat is what Gordo means. Gordito is little, short, fat. Hey! My dog's freaking out. But at any rate, yeah, I mean, a lot of cool stuff coming up. Should have that full tutorial video on the Kanan Jarrus install. And you know, for those of y'all that haven't seen the last episode of Mandalorian, I don't want to give too much away, but you know, there might be a run of dark sabers coming up. And if y'all haven't seen Gary Ripper's Dark Saber Neo Pixel blades, oh my God, you know, they're incredible. They're just incredible. Yeah, I know. I'm watching it. I'm watching the Everyday Astronaut while I'm talking to you guys. So I saw them land it. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, SpaceX just launched Starlink 2 while we've been on live stream. So go SpaceX. Gotta love SpaceX. They're incredible. Oh Lord, how long have we been going? 40 minutes. So yeah, you know, a lot of cool stuff coming up. A lot of fun lightsabers, and I'm sorry that I'm not taking on yeah, I can't wait for Starship 1 test either, but I'm really looking forward to the crewed missions to the International Space Station, and I'm really hoping that SpaceX beats Boeing. You know, NASA's kind of in the tank for Boeing and is wanting Boeing to win that race, but to be honest with you, SpaceX already docked their capsule to the space station. Boeing didn't even make to orbit. Nice try, Boeing. And then they had to fire their CEO the next day while the thing was still up in space, and they're trying to bring it down. Lay down. And yeah, so their CEO gets fired. And what blade PCBs do you use? Asking for an enemy. I actually, I don't care. I actually use the custom Saber shops PCBs, the second gen ones with the gold tabs. I do have some of stock custom works PCBs, but they're so expensive. I pretty much save them for really high end Sabers. If somebody wants one, I'll install it, but they're going to pay the price. I mean, good Lord, Birch, those things are expensive. They're almost like 25 bucks a set or more. And, somebody's like, well, I want the lit connector. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Pay, 25 bucks for the set. And then I have to do all the programming. See you, Mike. Thanks for stopping in. I'll let you know about that Saber here in a second. As soon as I get off the live stream, I'll go check the mailbox. But got Mike's Graphics in. It'll be 3 Sabers that I've done for Mike when I finish that Graphics. But I've already got. By the way, already got your chassis painted, Mike. That's out in my garage drying. So chassis ready to go in that thing. So hopefully I can get that Graphics done pretty quick. I'm pretty quick at the Graphics anyway. Yeah, most of my Sabers, Birch, I'm using the custom Saber shops, hilt adapters in them. Just because I really haven't had any problems. I addressed that in one of my live streams, Double X. And I've always thought that Dimitri was an extremely intelligent guy that has some really cool products out there. He's certainly opinionated. I mean, he's jumped on me a few times, and a couple times I was like, man, was kind of out of line. It was, it was a bit brutal. But at the same time, it's in like the first or second live stream that I ever did, and I talked about that pretty extensively. I still disagree with the TRA booting him, and here's why. There was a schism between the custom lightsaber community uh, when the TRA first formed, and a lot of people, basically there was a mass exodus from FX custom sabers, and yeah, I think he's back on open source again now. Um, and I think he understands, and I think he gets it. But at the same time, I'm not quite so sure that his terse responses on Facebook merited getting booted off the TRA. Now, look, the mods may have had other inside information that I'm not privy to, but I'm sorry. In the United States of America, and I know Dimitri is not an American, but the TRA, I think, is based in the United States. And in the United States of America, there's this little thing called the First Amendment. And I don't think you should have hate or incendiary speech or mean speech, but I don't like political correctness. If somebody pisses me off, I just don't interact with them. That doesn't mean I think they should be banned, on the internet. If somebody's feelings get hurt, then they want to just ban somebody. And if they're just banned because they're speaking speech that you don't like or don't agree with, and I don't necessarily agree with that. Not in the United States of America, I don't. Um, with that being said, I certainly try not to talk to people like that. Like if somebody posts a picture of a soundboard that they've soldered and there's like solder gooped up all over and melted wires, I mean, I don't go, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing, and you need to go back and cut your wires and blah blah blah. I don't talk to people like that. I'm like, you know, hey, this could be. I'll tell somebody like that, hey, I think you could do a little bit neater a job on this, and here's an example of of what it looks like if it's done right, um, rather than tearing somebody apart on the internet. Because I don't get my jollies off on tearing people apart. You know, if there's stuff people want to tear me apart on, have at it. I just don't get my jollies on that. Like when I publish like if you go and look at my blade build video, when I put that NeoPixel blade build up there on the internet, and I didn't do that because I think I'm doing it right or because I'm on some ego trip. I mean, I've been building NeoPixel blades for a while, and a lot of people are like, "How do you build a NeoPixel blade?" And I'm like, "Well, it ain't that hard." And I put that video up there so people could see basically from start to finish blade build. I didn't put it up there to be a prick or a know-it-all. I just here's the way I build them. You don't have to build them that way. I don't know if Vader's Vault builds them that way or anyone else builds them that way. That's the way I build them. And I put it up there, and some guy put all these comments on there about what an idiot I am, and I was like, okay, where's your videos of you building blades? Let me see how you build blades. And he didn't ever reply. I mean, it's just keyboard warriors, and I don't like that. Rise of Skywalker, top third, middle third, bottom third. It's still bottom third. I did like the movie. I liked it a lot better than The Last Jedi. Um, it's still at the bottom of my list just because there's so many other good movies, and I was kind of a big fan of some of the prequels. Well, I didn't think it was a bad movie at all, Jeff. I liked it, a gazillion times better than The Last Jedi. So yeah, and to let y'all know where I'm at, A New Hope, because it was the first movie I ever saw in the theaters, and I loved it, and that's what started the whole mess. So A New Hope's always my favorite, followed by Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, probably Return of the Jedi, then TFA, and then probably The Phantom Menace, and then Rise of Skywalker, Attack of the Clones, Last Jedi. That's kind of where I'm at. It was entertaining. That's why it's in my bottom third, Jeff. But I did think it was better than TLJ, and I thought the fan service was needed. I almost viewed the Rise of Skywalker and some of the scenes in there like an apology from Disney for letting TLJ get so amok. What's your top lightsaber fight? Darth Maul and the Phantom Menace. That's why the Phantom Menace is up there for me. I hated Jar Jar Binks, but aside from that, the best lightsaber duel on any Star Wars movie ever of all time was Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Uh, I really wish they would have put Dooku in the first movie and killed him off, and then let Darth Maul be in the second and third movies. Because in my opinion, Darth Maul was a much more intriguing Sith villain than Count Dooku. I wasn't a big fan of Count Dooku. He didn't really scare you, but Darth Maul looked scary. I mean, Darth Maul was scary, and his saber. I remember when his saber first came out, it was a lot like, when the first previews came out about the crossguard igniting Aquilians. And everybody's like, "Oh, lightsabers aren't supposed to do that. That's bull crap." And I remember when the preview first came out for Phantom Menace, and there's that one scene where Darth Maul has his blade out here and he ignites one side and then he ignites the other side, and then you're like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, I love that lightsaber duel. What's your recommended conversion for a 2000 Yoda MRFX? I have not done a 2007 Yoda MRFX, but I do have some. I do have some frog sabers here that I'm working on. Yeah, I saw the Rebel series with Maul, and including the one where Obi-Wan wasted him on Tatooine, and then they kind of made amends there, which was pretty cool. Yeah, I like the throne room fight in TLJ. My big issue with TLJ, my biggest issue was there was really no lightsaber duels in TLJ. I mean, that was like one of my biggest gripes is like, where's the lightsabers fighting each other? You know, I know they're fighting the Imperial Guards there after they killed Snoke, but you know, I would have liked to have seen a couple more lightsaber duels in there. And then JJ went overboard in The Rise of Skywalker and had probably too many lightsaber duels. You know, if you really think back to A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, when the lightsabers came out, it was so rare that it was a treat when it happened. And too much of a treat is a bad thing. Anybody with kids knows that. I think that may be one of my favorite lightsaber moments. Second, yeah, Megtooth really like that moment as well. Outside the disappearing weapons from the guard, yeah, yeah. Might have been too many. Might have been too many lightsaber duels in The Rise of Skywalker. Again, that was fan service. Uh, you know, leading from criticisms from TLJ. Look, I'm not. I'm not some crazed psychopath. You know, wanting Rian Johnson's head on a platter. I disagreed with a lot of the things that he did. I didn't particularly care for his movie or his plot, and the politics being inserted in it. Never really liked that. Um, and there was still some political crap, you know, inserted into the Rise of Skywalker, but it wasn't like in your face where the whole movie thing like the Last Jedi was. I like how they're doing things in the Mandalorian. You know, I mean, KK, she's all big on wanting female heroes and female, you know, strong female characters. And I'm not opposed to a strong female character if you have a foundation for them. I think everybody's gripe about Rey was that she never got trained, and JJ kind of went back and tried to fix that in The Rise of Skywalker. But in The Mandalorian, two of the baddest ass characters in that whole series are women. And one of them is the head Mandalorian. I don't even know what the hell her name is. The one that forges the Mando's armor, and then the other one is that the rebel shock trooper. Hola, Bobby. So you know, if you want strong women characters, then I think Mandalorian is your model. Now, a lot of people said, "Well, you don't know that one character's woman because she never takes her helmet off." Well, her upper armor is composed differently. It's a woman. She has a woman's voice, and she's a badass. She just wiped out a whole platoon of stormtroopers in Episode 8. Sorry if I spoiled that for some of you guys. So yeah, I mean, it's still in the bottom third for me. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to be nice. This video is not for children, especially not the chat box. Thanks, Birch. Just kidding. Oh man. Birch, are you on the road or are you home? What are you doing? Are you on the railroad somewhere? Mm. But at any rate, oh, that's good. Well, hopefully you're getting some time with your family. Man, that the Oculus Quest. Oh my God. The the lightsaber dojo on Vader Immortal in Episode 3 is incredible. I can't even. I have to limit myself to like 15 minutes a day because I could put on that Oculus Quest and play lightsaber dojo and Vader Immortal 3 for like hours. So I have to put myself on a watch. I'm like, okay, I'm only allowed 15 minutes of this a day because if I don't do that, I would never get anything else done. So yeah, I mean, I love the Oculus, but I can only do a couple minutes a day. Things like a workout, man. That lightsaber dojo in Episode 3, it's awesome. You're spinning around, everything's coming at you, and you're using the force and slashing stuff with your lightsaber. Oh man, lightsaber dojo in Vader Immortal 3 is. I mean, I like the lightsaber dojos better than the actual game. The lightsaber dojos in Vader Immortal are freaking incredible. That's just an incredible experience. I ought to publish some videos on YouTube of that lightsaber dojo so people can see it. It is absolutely sick. Um, everyone that I've showed that game to and they put it on, they're like, "Oh my god, I need one of these," and I'm like, "I know, right?" It is sick. Made by Facebook. Did y'all know that? That Oculus Quest is actually made by Facebook. My phone's about to die over here from watching SpaceX launch after working all day. But at any rate, I'm getting ready to cut this thing short. But look, if anybody ever has any questions or, stuff that you want me to talk about on the next video, if you, yeah, I know. If anybody has something you want to talk about in the next episode, or you got a question about something you're trying to wire up, I need to do a lesson on recharge ports and how to figure out a recharge port with a voltmeter, so people can learn how to wire recharge ports. Because once you figure out a recharge port, it's actually pretty simple on the voltmeter. Any recharge port, you should be able to wire it. But if anybody has any other ideas, you can comment down in the comments on this video after it publishes to YouTube when it's no longer live. And if you like the videos, including the tutorials that I put up and the tutorials I've got coming, make sure you click like and subscribe down there in the bottom. Yep, still doing the Graflex. Still doing the Graflex, Bobby. Actually got 3 of them that I'm going to be doing. 1 ESB, one's up in the air, and 1 TFA for a 501st guy down in Florida, and 2 of them will be for sale. So the chassis were painted. They're on my workbench right now as we speak, and be ready to go on those pretty soon. So yeah, I may do the tutorial video on this one first before I do the Graflex installs. Just because it's beneficial to my channel. So once I do that, then I'll probably get the Graflexes done, and I can do those Graflexes in pretty short order. They're actually pretty quick. Once I get the chassis painted, it's pretty simple for me to wire them up and put them together. The chassis painting and some of the machining on the internal core is what takes so long, but I'll do all that at the same time on all 3 Graflexes. So it should be good. Should be good. But at any rate, if you like my videos and my tutorials, and you're getting some good information from them, then just click like and subscribe down on the bottom of the video. If you want to talk about something on the next Monday Night Live, which hopefully next Monday night will be at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I'm on the East Coast in North Carolina. Then just make comments in the video on this one, and I read all those and reply to them. And the next time I'll have something prepared to go over whatever y'all want to talk about. But that's going to be it for tonight, because I got to go call Jen. Happy New Year, everybody. If you haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, go see it. If you don't have Disney Plus to watch The Mandalorian, are you smoking crack? The Mandalorian's awesome. And, I'm pretty excited for 2020. Selling this house that I'm in, buying a new house, getting a new workstation with maybe a little bit more room. And thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. Keep your questions coming. It helps make these things worth it. And, sometimes when you guys are asking questions on these videos, we'll see you, Jeff. When you guys are asking questions on these videos, it kind of helps other people. Happy New Year, Boy Bava. Gosh, I butchered that shit. Babakan. Avakan. Happy New Year. But when we're on here having these talks like this, and sometimes we're answering questions that may help somebody. So bring your questions. Let's talk about this stuff. Let's share information. Get more people installing their own lightsabers, because Lord knows people like me and Jeff don't have enough time to install the sabers that people want. So the more people that are doing this, the better. Share the knowledge, share the wealth. I think it's a good thing. So Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back to Megtooth Monday Live. Hopefully we'll be going on every Monday at around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bovakeem. That is awesome. Bovakeem. Are you in the United States? Bovakeem. Bovakeem. I butchered that, didn't I? Bovakeem. I'm sorry I butchered your name. You know what the funny thing is? Like, my last name is spelled Tilmon. Tilmon, but it's Tillman. My granddad only made it through the 3rd grade, and he changed it to make it easier. Just next door in Georgia. I was just in Georgia the other day. We went down through Atlanta to go to Nashville. So we took 20 all the way to Atlanta and then up 75 through Mont Eagle and down up into Nashville from the south. So yeah, I was just through Georgia the other day. Beautiful state, beautiful mountains, beautiful people. So thank you everybody for watching, and may the force be with you, or the dark side, as it were. And we'll see you all hopefully next Monday. Peace. Yeah, we went through Augusta too. There was some crap that was happening in Augusta when we were there. Police all over the place. Oh yeah.